Let me tell you something that most people never realize until years have passed. Your life does not change because of one giant decision. Your life changes because of the small decisions you repeat when nobody is watching. There is a silent battle happening inside every human being. A battle between the person you are today and the person you know you could become. And every single day, you are casting a vote. Every habit is a vote. Every choice is a vote. Every action is a vote for the future version of yourself. The tragedy is that most people are waiting for a miracle. They are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect motivation, the perfect day when everything suddenly becomes easy. But life does not work that way. Success rarely arrives like a thunderstorm that shakes the entire world. Most of the time, success arrives like a sunrise, slowly, quietly, one small ray of light at a time. Think about this for a moment. If you became just 1% better every single day, would you even notice the change after one day? Probably not. Would your friends notice after 1 week? Maybe not. Would the world recognize a difference after 1 month? Maybe still not. But what happens after 1 year? A person who improves by just 1% every day is no longer the same person they were before. They have developed new skills, new discipline, new confidence, new awareness, new standards. Because small improvements are not small when they are repeated consistently. Here's what most people don't understand. They underestimate the power of tiny actions because they only see the present moment. They look at a small step and say, "This is not enough." They read 10 pages of a book and think, "What difference will 10 pages make?" They exercise for 20 minutes and think, "I still don't look different." They save a small amount of money and think, "This won't make me wealthy." They practice a skill for 30 minutes and think, "I'm still not an expert." But the mistake they make is judging the seed while ignoring the tree. Nobody looks at an acorn and says, "This is useless. It is too small to become anything." Because we understand that nature works through time. A tree does not become a tree overnight. A river does not carve a mountain in one day. A masterpiece is not created with one brush stroke. And a successful life is not built with one decision. It is built with thousands of small decisions made over thousands of ordinary days. I learned something years ago. The difference between an average person and an extraordinary person is often not talent. It is not luck. It is not some secret advantage that only a few people have. The difference is that extraordinary people respect the process. They understand that every small effort is creating something bigger than what they can see today. There was a farmer who planted a field of trees. Someone asked him, "Why are you planting these trees? You will not live long enough to enjoy their shade." The farmer smiled and said, "Someone planted trees before me that gave me shade. I am planting trees for people I will never meet." That is the mindset of growth. You are not just building today. You are building tomorrow. Every time you wake up early, when your mind tells you to sleep, you are building discipline. Every time you choose learning over entertainment, you are building wisdom. Every time you continue, when nobody praises you, you are building character. Every time you keep a promise you made to yourself, you are rebuilding trust with yourself. And that is where real transformation begins. Not with changing the entire world, with changing yourself. Let me tell you something powerful. Most people want a different life, but they do not want different daily habits. They want success, but they keep the same routines that created their current situation. They want confidence, but they avoid the uncomfortable experiences that build confidence. They want financial freedom, but they refuse to develop the skills that create value. They want greatness, but they negotiate with their weaknesses every day. You cannot build a new future while protecting the old habits that are destroying it. At some point, you have to ask yourself a difficult question. Is my daily behavior taking me closer to the person I want to become? Or is it keeping me trapped in the persons I am trying to escape? Because your future is not created someday. Your future is being created today. The conversation you have with yourself today matters. The choices you make today matter. The discipline you practice today matters. People often think success is about huge moments. They remember the entrepreneur who built a company. They remember the athlete who won the championship. They remember the speaker who stood on the biggest stage. But they forget the thousands of invisible moments before that success. They forget the mornings when that athlete trained while everyone else slept. They forget the nights when that entrepreneur studied while everyone else relaxed. They forget the failures, the mistakes, the rejection, and the small improvements nobody celebrated. Success has a hidden history, and that history is built one small improvement at a time. Imagine two people. One person improves 1% every day. Another person gives up on improving because the results are not immediate. At first, they look almost identical. After a week, almost no difference. After a month, maybe a small difference. After a year, the gap becomes impossible to ignore because growth compounds. Your actions multiply. Your habits create momentum. Your choices create direction. A small mistake repeated every day can destroy a future, but a small positive action repeated every day can build a life you once thought was impossible. This is why your daily habits are so important. Your habits are not just things you do. Your habits are creating who you are. If you practice discipline every day, you become a disciplined person. If you practice learning every day, you become a knowledgeable person. If you practice courage every day, you become a courageous person. Identity is not something you simply discover. Identity is something you build every day. You are constructing yourself brick by brick, choice by choice, action by action. And the most powerful question you can ask yourself is not, how can I completely change my life tomorrow? The better question is, what is one small improvement I can make today? Because one small improvement today creates the possibility of another improvement tomorrow, and tomorrow creates another and another, until one day you look back and realize that the person you became was created by the small things you refuse to ignore. Think about the greatest achievements in human history. They were not created by people who were always motivated. They were created by people who learned how to continue even when motivation disappeared, because motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Feelings change. Commitment remains. Some mornings you will feel powerful. Some mornings you will feel tired. Some days you will believe in yourself. Some days you will question everything. But successful people understand one important truth. You do not have to feel ready to take action. You have to take action to become ready. Confidence does not come before the work. Confidence comes because of the work. You become confident by keeping promises to yourself. You become confident by proving to yourself that you can do difficult things. You become confident by showing yourself that your excuses do not control you. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of consistency. But you will never meet that version if you keep choosing comfort over growth. Comfort feels good today, but regret hurts much longer. And one of the greatest pains in life is not failure. Failure teaches you. Failure shapes you. Failure makes you stronger. The greater pain is looking back years later and realizing you never gave yourself a real chance. Realizing you had dreams, but protected your fears. Realizing you had potential, but protected your excuses. Realizing you had opportunities, but protected your comfort zone. Nobody regrets becoming stronger. Nobody regrets learning more. Nobody regrets improving themselves. The regret comes from knowing you could have become more, but refused to begin. So, start small, start where you are, use what you have, improve what you can, because greatness does not require perfection. It requires consistency. A person who improves slowly, but consistently will defeat a person who waits for the perfect moment forever. The world celebrates overnight success, but it rarely sees the years of preparation behind it. It sees the result. It does not see the repetition. It sees the victory. It does not see the discipline. It sees the achievement. It does not see the sacrifices. But that is where your power is. Your power is in the daily process. Your power is in the small choices. Your power is in becoming slightly better than yesterday, because every day you have a choice. You can remain the same, or you can grow. You can repeat old patterns, or you can create new ones. You can allow your circumstances to define you, or you can decide that your actions will define your future. Let me ask you something. What would happen if you stopped looking for massive changes and started respecting small improvements? What would happen if you spent the next year becoming just a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more disciplined, a little more focused every single day? What would your life look like? What kind of person would you become? Because the person you dream about becoming is not created in one powerful moment. That person is created in ordinary moments when you choose to do what most people avoid. The early morning when you choose growth. The difficult conversation when you choose honesty. The challenge when you choose courage. The temptation when you choose discipline. Those moments are shaping you. And one day those small choices will reveal something that was being built all along. Because the 1% improvement you make today may look invisible. But every invisible improvement is preparing you for visible success. And the person who understands this principle begins to see life differently, because they realize that every single day is another opportunity to build another opportunity, to grow another opportunity, to move closer to the person they were always capable of becoming. Because the truth is, every great transformation begins long before anyone notices. A seed grows underground before anyone sees a tree. A foundation is built beneath the surface before anyone sees a building. And a person becomes successful internally before the world ever recognizes them externally. That is why you must learn to respect the invisible season of your life. There will be moments when you are working hard and nobody is clapping. There will be moments when you are making sacrifices and nobody understands. There will be moments when you are improving yourself and people around you still see the old version of you. But remember this, the world is always late to recognize what you are becoming. People usually celebrate the result, not the process. They see the successful person, but they do not see the lonely nights. They see the confidence, but they do not see the years of doubt they overcame. They see the achievement, but they do not see the thousands of small improvements that created it. This is why patience is one of the greatest qualities a person can develop, because growth requires time. You cannot plant a seed today and demand a forest tomorrow. You cannot put one brick down and expect a castle immediately. You cannot read one page and expect wisdom. You cannot make one disciplined choice and expect your entire life to transform overnight. But what you can do is make one better choice today, and then another tomorrow, and another the next day. Because success is not about one perfect action. Success is about the direction of your actions. Think about a plane flying from one city to another. A small change in direction at the beginning of the journey can take that plane hundreds of miles away from its original destination. Your life works the same way. A small change in your daily habits can completely change the direction of your future. The problem is that people underestimate small changes because they are looking for dramatic results. They want a new life, but they do not want to create new patterns. They want a stronger mind, but they do not want to challenge their weak thoughts. They want a better future, but they continue feeding the same behaviors that created their current reality. Let me tell you something. Your future is not built by what you say you want. Your future is built by what you repeatedly do. Your habits reveal your priorities. Your calendar reveals your values. Your actions reveal your commitment. Anyone can talk about success. Anyone can dream about greatness. Anyone can make promises when they are feeling inspired. But the person who changes their life is the person who keeps moving when the excitement disappears. Because motivation is like a spark. It can start the fire. But discipline is the wood that keeps the fire burning. There will come a day when you wake up and you do not feel like working. There will come a day when the journey feels longer than you expected. There will come a day when you question whether your effort is even making a difference. That moment is where most people quit. And that is exactly why most people never experience what they are capable of. They do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they stop too early. They leave the garden before the flowers grow. They abandon the book before the lesson is revealed. They quit the journey before the destination appears. Success belongs to the person who understands that progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. I remember hearing a powerful lesson years ago. A man asked a successful person, "What is the secret behind your success?" Chorter snorts a chore. The successful person replied, "I simply refuse to stop improving. Not perfect, not always confident, not always successful, just always improving." That is the mindset that separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. The person who says, "I already know enough," closes the door to growth. The person who says, "I can still learn more," keeps the door open to unlimited possibilities. A successful person is not someone who has reached a point where they no longer need improvement. A successful person is someone who has accepted that improvement is a lifelong journey. Every morning gives you another opportunity to sharpen yourself. Every challenge gives you another opportunity to strengthen yourself. Every mistake gives you another opportunity to teach yourself. Your mistakes are not just failures. They are information. They are feedback. They are lessons showing you where you need to improve. The wise person does not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" The wise person asks, "What can this teach me?" Because your attitude toward your struggles determines whether your struggles destroy you or develop you. Two people can face the same difficulty and create completely different outcomes. One person sees difficulty and says, "Life is against me." Another person sees difficulty and says, "Life is training me." The challenge is the same. The difference is the mindset. Your mind is the place where your future is created. Before you ever achieve something physically, you must first believe it mentally. Every building begins with an idea. Every invention begins with a thought. Every transformation begins with a decision. And the most powerful decision you can make is this: I am no longer willing to remain the same. Because growth requires a level of honesty with yourself. You have to look at your habits. You have to look at your choices. You have to look at the excuses you repeat. You have to look at the fears that control your decisions. Not to criticize yourself, but to understand yourself. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. The person who wants to improve must first become aware. Awareness creates choice. Choice creates action. Action creates habits. Habits create identity. And identity creates destiny. This is why small improvements are so powerful. Because every small improvement is not just changing what you do. It is changing who you become. When you read every day, you are not just gaining information. You are becoming a person who values learning. When you exercise every day, you are not just changing your body. You are becoming a person who respects discipline. When you save money consistently, you are not just building wealth. You are becoming a person who thinks about the future. The action is small, but the identity shift is enormous. And once your identity changes, your standards change. You stop asking, what is the easiest thing I can do? You start asking, what is the right thing I can do? You stop looking for shortcuts. You start looking for growth. You stop searching for comfort. You start searching for improvement because you realize that the quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of the person you become. Here is something most people never think about. Your future self is watching the choices you make today. The person you will become 5 years from now is depending on what you do with this moment. Will that future version of you be grateful that you started? Will they be thankful that you stayed disciplined? Will they appreciate the sacrifices you made when nobody was watching? Or will they wish you had taken action when you had the chance? Because time is always moving. The days are passing whether you improve or not. The years are coming whether you prepare or not. The question is not whether time will pass. The question is who you will become while it passes. You cannot stop time, but you can use time. You can use today as a tool. You can use this moment as a foundation. You can use every experience as a lesson. The person who understands the value of time understands the value of small improvements. They know that 1 hour spent learning today can create opportunities tomorrow. They know that one difficult conversation today can create peace tomorrow. They know that one disciplined decision today can create freedom tomorrow. Because the future is built in the present, not someday. Not when everything becomes perfect. Not when conditions become easier. Right here, right now. With the choices you make when nobody is forcing you. And this is where true self mastery begins, because the greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world around you. It is against the part of yourself that wants to stay comfortable. The part that wants immediate results. The part that wants rewards without sacrifice.